Hello everyone, welcome to this e-lesson on getting started with online teaching and learning designed specifically for instructors. I'm doing these e-lessons as part of a series on online teaching and learning. My name is Florence Martin, and if you'd like to know more about me, you can visit florencemartin.net. And if you like this e-lesson and want to stay in loop for the subsequent ones, please click on subscribe. The objectives of this e-lesson are describe online learning, examine faculty readiness for online teaching, and also identify institutional or organizational resources that might be available to you for online teaching and learning. So what is online learning? So this is a definition from almost a decade ago. Ali defines online learning as the use of internet to access learning materials, to interact with the content, the instructor and other learners, and also to obtain support during this learning process, to acquire knowledge and construct personal meaning and grow from the experience. So overall, online learning is more than just the presentation and delivery of the materials using the internet. So the learning and the learning process and the learner should be the focus of online learning. So when faculty or instructors are converting from face-to-face classes to online courses, there's a lot more thinking that needs to be put into it and keep the learner and the learning process at the center of this redesign. So there are three approaches to online learning: asynchronous online learning, synchronous online learning, and bichronous online learning. Asynchronous online learning uses the time-delayed capabilities of the internet, which means it can be anytime and anywhere. And then synchronous online learning happens in real time, where the instructor and the learner can log in from anywhere, but they are logging in at the same time. Whereas bichronous online learning is the blending of both synchronous and asynchronous online learning. So here is some information about asynchronous online learning, which I called it as anytime, anywhere online learning. This typically involves the use of a learning management system, which has several functionalities, such as sending announcements or emails, creating modules, uploading files, uploading recorded lectures, discussions. Asynchronous discussions can happen in this, and then also students have the opportunity to submit assignments or quizzes. There's a number of asynchronous online learning LMS platforms out there. Canvas is one, Moodle is another one that is available. Google Classroom is used, and there's several. So here on the right hand side, the screenshot is from Canvas and just shows a landing page where I give my students information about the objectives for that particular week, and then what tasks they need to do, and what are the readings and resources, and what activities and assessment they need to complete. Overall, asynchronous online learning is beneficial in the terms of convenience, because students are able to participate in it from any time and anywhere. Then comes the synchronous online learning, which uses a synchronous online technology and typically involves tools such as text chat, audio and video, data and application sharing. There is a whiteboard that the instructor could use. Students can write on it. This virtual hand raising, students could, like as though in class, right? They could raise their hands, not like this, but there is a click of a button they could click on, and the instructor can see it. And then instructor can do presentations on online slideshows. And then also for collaboration, there are some breakout room opportunities. Text chats and audio and video very commonly used, provided students also have the microphone and the video cameras. So the advantage of synchronous online learning is the real-time capability. Everybody's logging in at the same time, so that's the social aspect of it, and also immediacy in such that if students have questions, they can be answered at any time immediately, and they don't have to wait. Bichronous online learning, so this blends both asynchronous and synchronous online learning. So students can participate in some parts of the course in anytime and anywhere learning, whereas in some parts they can participate in the real-time activities. So it uses both the time-delayed functionality capabilities of the internet as well as the real-time capabilities. So definitely has its advantages. So here is a framework I want to introduce you to. So online teaching and learning framework, this resulted from a research study that we did with award-winning faculty for their online teaching practices. So effective online courses, the components fall under three elements, which is design, facilitation, and assessment and evaluation. And in future videos, I will walk you through more details on these elements. So my goal for doing these e-lessons is to share some of the research practices and, in simplistic words, so that any practitioner could take it and use it in their course design and delivery. So the second part of this e-lesson, I want to spend some time talking about faculty readiness. So are you ready to teach online? Or what competencies do you need to have to be ready to teach online? Again, this came out of another research study examining faculty perception of readiness to teach online, and this was published in the Online Learning Journal. So we look at it through four elements: design, communication, time management, and technical. So I'm going to spend some time talking about each of it. So in design, course design is very critical in the online world. And what are some of the design aspects that you work on? First is you need to be able to create an online course orientation to help your learners get started, introduce yourself, to be able to write measurable objectives, learning goals and objectives, I would say, and then designing learning activities online to provide students opportunities for interactions, and then organizing the instructional materials into modules or units, creating videos. I like to do like short videos, like in 10-minute time frame. I call them as e-lessons. And it helps establish that instructor presence, and then use different teaching methods in the online environment. The strategies you use face to face might be different, and you might have to adapt them in the online environment. What type of collaborative activities can you do? What type of discussions can you do? So thinking through that, and then finally also being able to create quizzes and tests to assess them, and creating online assessments so they can also submit other types of projects and presentations. And then in the end, creating and managing an online gradebook so that you can keep track of all your grades online. So the next important element for faculty readiness is communication. So how do you communicate in the online environment? Sending announcements and email reminders to course participants, knowing how to do that periodically and is very, very important. And creating and moderating discussion forums. Your presence, being present in there is also very important. Using emails to communicate with your learners, responding to questions promptly. In the online world, students are separate from the instructors. If they have questions, they would love to hear back from the instructor, so the prompt response is very helpful. Providing feedback on assignments, again on a timely manner, that's very important. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're doing more asynchronous, then having the synchronous element and using synchronous web conference tools is also important in terms of communication. Communicating expectations about student behavior ahead of time, communicating compliance on academic integrity policies ahead of time is very important, and you can include these in your syllabus early on. And then also as an instructor, you want to apply copyright law and fair use guidelines and anytime you use copyrighted materials, and then also applying accessibility policies so that you can accommodate student needs. So these all fall under communication. Time management. So again, in an online world, managing time is very critical. What are some strategies you could use? Here, scheduling time to design the course prior to delivery. In a face-to-face class, you could prepare on the go, but in an online world, you need some lead time to design the course. But then facilitating happens during the semester, so making sure you schedule weekly hours to facilitate the course, and using a variety of features in the learning management systems to manage time, like the online grading, rubrics, speed grader that is in Canvas. So whatever LMS you're using, look for different functionality that might be available to you, like managing the calendar with due dates. So you would get fewer questions from the students. So if all this is made very clear, using a variety of facilitation strategies again to manage the time spent, like having additional discussion discussion board moderators to assist you in facilitating discussions, providing collective feedback on projects, using grading scales so that the grading is very transparent to the learners, and then also spending weekly hours to grade assignments so that they don't accumulate in the end. And then in the end, always schedule time or allocate time to learn about new strategies or tools. Technical competencies are very important when you teach online. Basic computer operations are very, very critical because everything is happening online. You navigate within the course and the learning management system efficiently. So whatever LMS you use, you want to make sure that you're competent in navigating through it. Using like the course roster system or the people functionality, whatever equivalent functionalities available in your LMS, so that if you have to set up teams, groups, you could do all that efficiently. If there are collaborative tools built in within your LMS, you want to be able to use them. Creating editing videos, I mentioned this under design, but then if you want to edit them, take them to the next level, you want to be able to have that technical competency. Sharing open educational resources, so making finding them and then integrating them into your course is also helpful. And finally, like if you have questions, you want to be able to reach a help desk or for assistance, but also make sure you share this information with your students so that if they have questions, they can also reach out to the help desk. So these are some technical competencies. So we looked at design, communication, time management, and technical. So I want to end this e-lesson with some institutional or organizational resources. So if you're considering teaching online, or even if you already teach online, what are some questions to ask? Does the university or the institution or the organization already, do they provide courses online, or is it completely online, or do they allow for a blended format or only face-to-face? So what does the institution allow? And then if there is an opportunity for blended or online teaching, are there platforms, are there learning platforms or tools they use, which is very, very important to know. And then are there policies in place for those who want to teach an online or blended course? So, finding that is also very important. Also, what restrictions are there? How much of a course can be accessed online, whether synchronous tools can be used, or can it also be asynchronous? What does your university prefer? That's good to know. And also, is there any training in place? These days we see a lot of centers for teaching and learning in place who offer training for those who want to teach online. Does your organization or institute have that kind of a support? And then also, are there orientations available for students and also for faculty and staff, for online teaching and learning, and for technical staff to support them if they have any questions? So here are the three objectives we looked at in this e-lesson. We looked at, online learning. We talked about some different approaches: asynchronous, synchronous, and bichronous. We looked at faculty readiness under 4 elements, and then we also discussed some questions that, you could ask if you're interested in online teaching and learning. And again, I'm doing this as part of the online teaching and learning series. This was a video on getting started for instructors. If you're interested in learning more on online teaching and learning, definitely take the time to subscribe, like and share, and I will be posting more videos periodically. Thank you and good luck. And here are the references for the studies, the bichronous one article, and then the next 2 are journal, and the last one was